Yo, it's been a long time. It's been a month since I last posted a video, bro. I am so sorry about that. I've been really busy with sports and school. I apologize. I'll try to upload more. Anyway, don't mind how I look right now. Got bedhead, Woke up 2 hours ago, something like that. I didn't do my hair. Yeah, as you could tell, some changes Some changes has happened over the last month. As you can tell, I got glasses. Probably gonna get contacts soon. So yeah, that's that. You're also probably wondering what is in this box right here. Well, might not be wondering that. Look at this shit. Ow! Look at this shit, bro. Jaw 3 Max Volume. Oh! New shoes, I was so hyped that I got them. It's about time they came in. Beautiful pair of shoes, man. Wait! Don't forget to grab a blanket. You're gonna get scared. Yeah. In today's video, we're gonna be reacting to True Story Scary Animations again, part 2. So, enough talking, let's get it.
Look for me. Damn, I want the line. Always in the north side, chillin' with my other guys. You know what it's like.
Hey!
This happened in 2012 when I was 10 years old. My family of 7 had just moved into a new house in a sketchy neighborhood. There had already been several arrests on our block, and some houses had even been destroyed by fire. The house itself was old, very old. The basement looked like something out of the Italian
there's cobwebs in the corner.
It was completely unfinished, with nothing but dirt for a floor. When we moved in, we noticed the basement door had been locked with a chain from the inside. That should have been our first warning. There was also a lot of windows throughout the house.
Get on your way.
To get from my room to the bathroom, I had to walk past the kitchen and the back door. Anyone who grew up in a rough area knows how unsettling it is to walk past uncovered windows at night. That detail will matter later. I shared a room with my older brother Nick. I was always a pretty paranoid kid and had trouble falling asleep, which is embarrassing to admit, but I used a nightlight until I was 12. Around 3 a.m., I woke up with a full bladder. I tried to ignore it, but the urge became unbearable. I hesitated, gathering my courage, before finally making my way to the bathroom. I walked slowly, cautiously checking every window as I passed. Everything seemed normal. I took a few more steps and turned into the living room, and my heart sank. A homeless-looking man stood at our back door, his hands cupped around his eyes as he peered inside. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Then, moving as silently as I could, I ducked behind the couch. My mind raced. Did he see me? I needed to wake up Nick. He was 3 years older than me and had a cell phone. I didn't. I began crawling toward our room when I heard something that made my stomach drop. The back door lock turned. This man, this stranger, had a key to our house. For the first time in my life, I whispered, "Shit." I pressed myself tighter against the couch, barely daring to breathe. The door creaked open.
Yo, why don't you
the
run
man stepped
and wake up your parents? Damn!
Carefully, quietly, as if he had done this before.
She's hollow up there.
He was tall, around 6'2", with a long, graying beard that reached his chest. A hat and a hoodie concealed most of his face. He walked into the kitchen and opened our pantry, casually pulling out a bag of chips. Then, without hesitation, he unbolted the basement door and disappeared down the stairs, leaving it unlocked.
Wrap it up, dude.
For a moment, I just sat there, paralyzed. Then,
you guys, he's gonna go investigate.
I realized something terrifying. He would hear my footsteps if I tried to move. My mind raced for a solution. I spotted my little sister's blanket draped over the couch. Carefully, I pulled it toward me and slid my feet onto it. using it to muffle my steps as I made my way toward the kitchen. The basement door was only a few feet away. I swallowed hard and whispered to myself, "Screw it." Then I sprinted. I reached the door and slammed the bolt shut, just as I heard heavy footsteps pounding up the basement stairs. A loud thud rattled the door.
Yo,
I
why don't
turned
you go
and
wake up
bolted
your
the
parents
stairs
now?
leading to my parents' bedroom. Grabbing a
Okay.
knife from the kitchen counter as I ran, I shook my dad awake, my whole body trembling. There's a man in the basement," I managed to stammer. My dad shot up instantly, grabbing the knife from my hand. He was a military veteran, a big guy.
Damn, bro, he's jacked.
Could
Yeah.
handle this. It was him. My mom, meanwhile, called the police. They said they were 5 minutes away. She didn't want to leave my little sister downstairs, so she took my hand, and together we made our way back to the kitchen. Just as we stepped onto the floor, the basement door exploded open. The man tackled my dad, sending them both crashing to the ground. They
Yo, I thought he was
struggled, fists flying, my dad trying to pin him down. I didn't think, I just reacted.
Yo, why would you stand
I
there,
sprinted
bro?
to the kitchen, grabbed another knife, and rushed toward them. My hands shook, but I raised the blade, ready to stab the man.
Give it to me!
My mom shouted. I hesitated but handed her the knife. Without missing a beat, she stabbed the man in the back. He let out a strangled cry, giving my dad the chance to overpower him. My dad flipped
Yep.
him over, pinning him face down with his arms locked behind his back. I stood there, panting, my heart hammering in my chest. Then the sirens. The police stormed inside. My siblings, now awake, ran into the room, screaming at the sight of the blood-streaked floor. My older
They
sisters
just
pulled
woke
me
up,
into
bro.
a hug, wiping away my tears as I shook uncontrollably. The man survived the stabbing and was taken to the hospital before being arrested. But the scariest part, we never figured out how he had a key to our house. That night still haunts me. I don't know what he wanted. I don't know how long he had been coming and going. And I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't locked that basement door in time. But I do know one thing. My mom didn't let me stab him because she didn't want me to carry that weight for the rest of my life. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Damn. That was not even that scary.
Hello, my name is Hayden. This happened to me about a year ago when I was 17. It was the middle of the day, and I was at a rehearsal for a sketch comedy group. It was lunchtime, and my friend, let's call him Ron, asked
Ronnie.
if I wanted to go with him to get something to eat. I agreed, got in the passenger seat of his car, and we started looking for a fast food place. Ron spotted a Wendy's nearby and asked if I wanted to eat there. I said, sure.
Yo, Wendy's is
Outside,
nasty, I'm just
there was a
saying.
short line. One person in the line stood out to me. It was a man who looked to be in his mid-20s, African American with a hoodie, gray sweatpants, and sandals. He looked normal, nothing out of the ordinary, but I had a gut feeling that there was something wrong here.
Just because he's black, really? Nah.
Felt
Nah.
off. When it was our turn to order, the man
'cause he's
left through a
black.
side door that was on the opposite side of the building from the entrance that we had used. We ordered our food, and Ron chose a table that was right next to the door the man had just left through. We sat down across from each other. I looked out the window, and I noticed that there was a red bike parked right outside, but I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah,
I reached
bro,
into my bag
you're
to
just
grab
so,
my
like,
food. When I looked
cautious.
back up at Ron, I froze. The man was outside the window, staring at Ron from behind. His eyes were wide, bloodshot, creeped me out, to say the least.
Yo, what is my race
Ron
doing,
had
bro?
noticed him, but then I saw something that scared me. On his back was a holster, and in that holster was a machete. I looked back at Ron, lowered my voice. Ron, don't look behind you. There's a man staring at you from outside, and he has a machete. Ron's expression changed, but he didn't panic. He simply sat there and said, okay. We sat there quietly, not knowing what to do other than wait for the man to leave. We looked at each other.
What if he didn't
and
wanna
started
leave?
Smile and giggle uncomfortably to lighten the mood. The man finally moved after about a minute or two, and I watched him to see where he would go. He moved around to the back of the restaurant, pressed his face up against another window. Again, he stared at us with these wide, bloodshot eyes, and I could see the handle of the
He's
machete
hungry, bro.
clearly. I tried to think of what I should do next, so I got up and went up to an employee, told him what was happening, and asked him to call the police. He gave me this lazy look and said that, I will. I went back to my seat and got an idea. I wanted to take a picture of the man, to show the police, but I didn't want the man to know it. So I took out my phone and aimed it at Ron while very subtly angling it to get that creepy man in the background. "Smile," I said to Ron. He seemed to understand what I was implying, and he faked a pose. After taking the pictures, I noticed that the few other people in the restaurant still somehow hadn't noticed this man, so I got up and told them. And when they saw him, I could tell that they were frightened. They started to talk amongst themselves about what should they do. Well, I thought about trying to leave, but with the man outside, I did not want to take that risk.
Yeah, really though. Like, what are you thinking?
Who
about?
knows what he would do if we tried to
He'll
leave.
shank you.
The man
Slice
could
you.
also
Slice
easily
and
come
dice.
inside and do God knows what. And I realized that we were pretty much trapped.
Yo, I think
The man
4 people could
his
take
face
one guy.
pressed
Come on
against
now.
the glass, standing perfectly still,
Unknown
staring
Slayer, question mark?
with these wide, bloodshot eyes.
Unknown Slayer? No.
I soon
That's me.
realized that the worker had never actually called the police, because if he had, they would have been there by that time. So I got annoyed and decided to take things into my own hands. I took out my phone again and I dialed 911. As soon as I did, the man moved. My heart dropped. The man started to circle his way back around to the side door next to our table. I thought that he was going to come inside. Instead, luckily, he got on that bike that was parked right outside our window, and he rode away. I watched as he rode behind another building, and I breathed this sigh of relief. Ron got the restaurant manager while I described what the man looked like to the police. He told me that they would look for him, but they probably wouldn't be able to charge him with anything since he technically hadn't really committed any crimes.
Harass?
All they could
No.
do was ban him from the location. The police told us to stay put until they called back, so Ron and I sat down back at our table to finish our meal. And while we were eating, I was obviously afraid that the man would come back, but luckily he never did. We saw police in their cars outside searching for him. And when the police finally called back, they told me that they couldn't find anyone who fit the description I gave them, but they were sure it was safe to leave. So I thanked them and hung up. When we finished our food, we carefully stepped outside and looked around to make sure that the man was truly gone. Then we dashed for the car, drove back to theater practice. I had to call our director and explain why we were 30 minutes late. When we got back, Ron and I had a good laugh about it with our friends about the experience, but I'm 18 now and the man has still never been caught. Ron and I still like to talk about the story from time to time. We think that he was definitely some sort of mentally ill, and I'm pretty sure that he was on some sort of drugs since his eyes were so bloodshot. I try to think
Maybe he
of
was
logical
tired.
reasons for
Maybe he
why
was
he
tired.
could possibly have a machete. Like, maybe he was a gardener or something, but
Yes, now.
really still wouldn't explain his weird behavior. I'm sure he didn't have any good intentions, and I'm glad the series of events ended up playing out the way that it did, because things could have ended up much, much worse.
Yeah. I mean, it was not as scary, but it was kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, let's get into another one.
Hello, Mwanzi. You can call me Billy. I'm a black Indian girl living in Suriname with my parents, and at the time, my grandmother. This happened when I was about 7 years old. I used to share a
But how
room
do you
with
still
my
remember that, bro?
14-year-old sister, who we'll call Tiffany. Our room was on the second floor. Now, as a kid, I'd always see things that felt a little off, but I never really thought anything of it until this night.
Hell,
I was asleep on the top bunk. Tiffany was on the
top
bottom.
bunk's the safest.
In the middle of the night, I woke up for no reason. I glanced around the room, then looked at the clock. It read 3 a.m. My bed
Everything
faced the
bad always
window,
happens at
and
3
because
a.m.,
of the
right?
balcony light outside, the curtain was just see-through enough to make out shapes. I was just about to drift back to sleep when I looked over, and I saw it. A small, childlike hand pressed against the window, just resting there, behind the curtain. I was petrified. I went to a Christian school, so the first thing I did was hide under my blanket and start praying. I prayed so hard I couldn't even think straight. The next morning, my eyes immediately went to the curtain, but there was no sign of a hand. But here's the thing, we were on the top floor. It was impossible for anyone to be standing outside our window. I never told anyone about what I saw. I was 7, and I knew no one would believe me. That night, I hesitated, but I went to bed anyway. And again, I woke up in the middle of the night. My eyes landed on the window, that same childlike hand, pressed against the glass. Just a hand, no one.
Who wants to come in, bro? Let him in.
Just a hand. This time, I whispered, "Tiffany, Tiffany," trying to wake her up, but she didn't move. I lay there, frozen with fear, unable to sleep. I hid under my covers again and prayed to God to please make it go away. Eventually, I must have fallen asleep. When I woke up, the sun was shining through the curtains, but I was still shaken. Later that evening, I went to the upstairs living room where my grandmother stayed. She was the only person I felt I could talk to. At first, she was skeptical, but the more I told her, the more seriously she listened. I've always been a grandma's girl. It was easy to tell her everything. She handed me a small Bible and told me to keep it under my pillow. I didn't want to tell my parents. I knew they wouldn't believe me. And when I finally did, I was right. They laughed and told me it was just a dream, my imagination. That night, I fell asleep with the Bible still under my pillow. And for the first time, I slept peacefully. No hand, no waking up. Now that I'm older, I've learned more about the legends in my country, and I realized that hand I saw, it was most likely a Bakru, a small, childlike creature from our folklore. It has all the same characteristics of a child, but isn't.
You.
And if you think that was the end of my experience with the paranormal, think again. This was just the beginning.
Wait. What is that ending? What? Yo, the ending scared me more than the story itself, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into another one.
My name is Carol, and I want to share with you a true story that has haunted me since 2010,
Okay.
when I was just 14 years
2010?
old.
Damn.
Back then, I lived in a quiet apartment complex called Questons Avenue. It had 5 buildings. I lived in the B building on the first floor.
Yeah.
Directly across from my building was the D building, where I used to attend tuition classes. And just beside the D building, there was a small, obscure security door. It was always closed. I had never seen anyone use it. It felt like it had been forgotten. By the residents, by the guards,
Probably was
by
forgotten.
everyone. My daily routine was uneventful. I'd leave for class around 4:30 p.m., and by 6:30, I'd be on my way home. The walk from my building to the D building took about 20 minutes, time I usually spent daydreaming or chatting with friends. One evening, after class, my friend and I walked out together. We were laughing, sharing snacks she'd brought along, but she soon had to leave for another class, and I was left alone, slowly finishing the last few bites on my way home. That's when I noticed him, a man, tall, gaunt, and unnerving, emerging from that strange security door, the one no one ever used. His movements were off, like he was struggling to control his own body. His limbs twitched, and his walk was very jerky. Each stride
Yeah, wrap it up.
stranger
Get on
than
it.
the
Get
last.
on it.
And he was looking down at his feet the whole time,
Aw, so
almost as
handsome.
if he knew that he was walking in a strange manner. But then he looked up, and his eyes met mine. Something was wrong.
No
Completely
shit.
wrong. His face was unsettling. His eyes were too wide apart, and his jaw hung at a crooked angle, like it wasn't aligned with the rest of his face. He stared at me. I tried to ignore him, focused on my snack, but then he moved. He didn't just walk toward me, he lurched, and his slow stagger
Hey,
turned
can you
into
start
a
running?
stride. Before I could react, he was right behind me, yanking my bag with so much force it nearly pulled me off balance. I spun around. My heart felt like it was trying to escape my chest. Up close, he was horrifying. Those same wide, bulging
No
eyes,
shit, I'd
that
say, look at
distorted
him.
jaw, and a twisted grin full of something I can only describe as malice. "Do you have any money in your bag?" he
Why is his
asked.
hands so fucking
His
big,
voice was
bro?
a low, gravelly rasp that made my skin crawl.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I
what the fuck?
stammered, my
Why'd she sound
hands
like that?
shaking. He didn't blink. He stared, deep and cold. Then his eyes darted to the nearby benches, where a few people had started watching us. Their concerned
They
expressions
just stand there,
seemed to
or
break the
just sit
spell
there
for a
and
moment.
watch that happen to you.
That's when he laughed, but not like a normal person. It was a hollow, mocking laugh, like something pretending to sound human.
Why are you so scared?
That
Oh
was
man,
enough
look
for
at
me.
you! You're
I yanked my
horrified!
bag from his grip and ran. I ran as fast as I could back to my building, all the way to my front door. When I got home, I was out of breath and terrified. I told my parents everything. They were horrified and told me that if I ever saw the man again, I was to call them immediately. They wouldn't hesitate to report him, but I never saw him again. A few days later, one of my friends said she saw the same man I described. She thought he might have been drunk, considering there were a few liquor shops nearby. She said that after I left, his face turned pale, and he stumbled back to that same security door, the one he came out of, and then vanished.
He's what's
To
it
this
called?
day, I don't know who he
Squatters.
was or what he wanted, but that image of his face, that moment he grabbed my bag, still lingers in my mind.
Damn! That's crazy. I mean, come on, bro. She got the survival instincts of a donut. What are you doing? Just standing there. Like, wait, hold on the phone. Why wouldn't you run as soon as you started walking towards me? Like, bro, it hurts me. It bothers me so much because people are so stupid. Like, come on, bro. I expected more from our humanity. Damn. Alright, enough talking. So, these ones weren't as scary as the ones in the other video. But, that's alright. I'm probably going to be going live shortly, soon, maybe. I don't know yet. And, yeah. In a couple days, I'd say. Also, I'm going to try to, like, upload again sometime this week. I know I said that before, and I never uploaded to, like, a month later, almost a month later. So I'll try to actually post again this week. And yeah, if I'm not too busy. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please smash the like button. And also, if you don't mind, to click the subscribe button right here. And also, if you did subscribe, don't forget to turn on. If you did subscribe, please don't forget to turn on all notifications so you won't miss any upcoming videos. And yeah, also, I forgot to mention, go follow the Twitch. I'm gonna be going live soon, like I said earlier. So yeah, anyway, let's wrap it up. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Every place